Scotty Scheffler could walk off the 18th at Augusta with 20 putts and have lost strokes gained putting to the field. So why in the world are we still tracking total putts? Or while we're at it, why are we tracking fairways or greens in regulation? They are useless stats. The in regulation stats don't give us a full picture of if we're actually good at something or not. And tracking strokes gained can absolutely feel overwhelming at first. So what's the middle ground? There are 4 simple stats that you can track every single hole. That'll take you 30 seconds. You can just jot down on your scorecard, and it's going to get you 95% of the benefit of fully tracking strokes gained. If you hit a drive 330 yards into the rough, just a foot into the rough, and you have a friend who hits it 180 yards and into the fairway, who really hit the better drive? Well, if you're tracking fairways in regulation, your buddy did, even though he's 2 Walmarts back from you. The first stat that most people track when they're playing golf is fairways in regulation. But fairways don't give you the context for whether or not you put yourself in a good position. So instead of tracking fairways, track tee shots that land in play and give you a clean second shot. The only way you miss this mark is if you have to take a drop or you hit in the trees and have to punch out sideways. The baseline for tee shots in play with a clean second shot for 20 handicaps is going to be 9 to 10. For 10 handicaps, it's going to be 11. And then for scratch golfers, it's going to be 12 to 13. If you want to follow along with all the stats and baselines, I did put that in the description down below. You can download it for free. Let's go back to our hole where you drove at 330. Let's say you flip a wedge on, but it rolls just off the back end of the rough, and you go and get it up and down. But your friend, who hit it only 180 off the tee, snipes the green, 60 feet, 3 putts. He walks away with a bogey, you walk away with a par. Who played the hole better? But statistically, you played it worse. Statistically, according to our in regulation stats. Greens in regulation is the next awful stat that we track. So we're going to replace greens in regulation with your total score from 150 yards and in. This will give you a really honest and clear view of if you're scoring in the zone where you're supposed to be scoring. It also doesn't limit your view of how you played to just the cut of grass that your ball ended up in. When hitting approach shots inside of 150 yards, a 20 handicap is going to average about 4, a 10 handicap is going to average about 3.5, and a scratch golfer is going to average right around or a little over 3. Tracking this on your scorecard is really easy. Just write down your 150 yard and in score. Now let's say you have an approach shot from 165 yards. I just wouldn't track the score on that hole. I would only track it when you have an approach shot from 150 yards or in. I had 22 putts. I putted so good. I shot 107, but yeah, man, you missed every single green and then chipped it onto 4 feet, and you missed 4 of those 4-footers. So I'm not saying that you putted well. Total putts is the most overrated stat in every single clubhouse across America. The other side to that is you could have had a really good approach day and a not great putting day, and statistically, you can think that you putted really well. So we're going to break this down into 3 stats. Stat number 1 is chips hit to inside of 20 feet. That's going to be your scoring zone, where you have a decent shot of making the next putt. Stat number 2 is when you have a putt from outside of 30 feet, how many putts does it take you to get in the hole? And stat number 3 is going to be made putts from inside of 8 feet. I have the memory of a goldfish, so I'm going to read these benchmarks off. For chips hit inside of 20 feet, 20 handicap is going to be around 50%, 10 handicap is 60%, and scratch golfers are going to be at about 75%. The 2-putt percentage from outside of 30 feet for a 20 handicap is 55%, 10 handicap is 67%, and a scratch golfer is 78%. Now this is the most interesting one, which is your make percentage inside of 8 feet. So this is including all the putts inside of 8 feet. A 20 handicap is 58%, a 10 handicap is 68%, and a scratch golfer is 77%. So when somebody says they're a scratch golfer and you go play golf with them and you go, man, I thought you were going to make everything. Well, inside of 8 feet, all the putts inside of 8 feet, a scratch golfer is making 77% of putts. So when you miss a 5-footer, take it easy on yourself. Move on. Statistically, you're going to probably make the next one. Now you know where your strokes are going, but the problem is figuring out how to fix those areas that are either weaknesses or bolster the areas that are strengths. And most golfers will take this information and go to the driving range and then hit 100 7-irons in a row to the same target. I'm begging you, don't do that. If you're going to put in the effort to track the right stats and go through all that time to analyze it, go to the range with a plan, or at least know how to coach yourself. That video is going to be right here. Thanks for watching.